At the beginning of the movie, a woman is shown praying. She says that if someone has an unpleasant dream, they should spit to their left 3 times and seek refuge in God from the devil. Then such dreams will not harm them. Then at 3:15 a.m., we see a messy room. A girl lies on the bed trembling, her body shaking violently. She's drenched in sweat and is clutching the bedsheet as if in pain. Just as the tension peaks, the scene cuts abruptly. Then we are introduced to a woman named Tania, a tennis player practicing for her match, which she wins. Overjoyed, she runs to her father, but he coldly reminds her that he is her coach first, not her dad. He tells her that she won out of luck and needs to improve her game. Hearing this, Tania feels demotivated. Later, it is revealed that Tania's mother is a social media influencer who is distant from her children. Tania's boyfriend, Choki, explains that her parents don't truly love her and only see her as an athlete. He comforts her, saying that he is the only one who truly understands and cares for her. Tania smiles, hugs him tightly, and says she should go before leaving. Later that night in the hostel, Tania and her friends are chatting about Nurul's boyfriend getting engaged. Nurul claims she's fine, just sleep deprived. She then asks, "Have any of you had sleep paralysis?" Silmi questions, "Is Beuno bothering you?" Tania asks. "Beuno?" Silmi explains. "He's a jinn. He attacks when we're asleep. It feels like sleep paralysis. He's known for getting intimate with humans." She asks Nurul, "You didn't summon him, did you?" Nurul stays silent. Tania asks, "Is that even possible?" Silmi nods. "He's part of Efni's folklore, passed down for generations. Back then, sleep paralysis was blamed on Beuno. Girls weren't even allowed to sleep alone." Leona scoffs. "It's just a myth. Who summons a demon?" Silmi replies. "Lonely women. Ones with weak faith. Those are the ones that Beuno goes after." Leona challenges. "Then summon him now." Silmi hesitates, but Tania volunteers. Silmi positions her in front of a mirror. Only half her face should show, so that Beuno's shadow can be seen next to her, then instructs her to chant the spell. Leona leaves for the washroom. As Tania starts chanting the spell, the lights start to flicker. Suddenly, Leona jumps back in, scaring them all. She says, "Don't believe this nonsense. Let's just sleep." Later that night, around 3:15 a.m., Beuno appears in the mirror, which suddenly shatters, causing Tania to jolt awake. She gets up and goes to the washroom. Meanwhile, Nurul is seen gasping for breath and trembling. Suddenly, the washroom light switches off. Tania calls out to her friends to stop messing around, and just then, the light comes back on. She steps out of the washroom, but hears some strange noise from outside. Frightened, she runs back to her bed and lies down. Then, Nurul gets up from her bed and starts to leave the room. Tania watches her and follows quietly. She stops Nurul, who then looks in one direction. Tania turns to look the same way, but when she looks back, Nurul has vanished. Tania runs upstairs and is shocked to see Nurul sitting on the parapet. Suddenly, Nurul falls backward. Tania rushes over and is horrified to find Nurul's lifeless body lying below. She screams in terror, then jolts awake in her own room. The movie skips ahead 7 days after Nurul's death. We then see Tania's mom, Samantha, filming a video while scolding her son Timo for making noise. Beanie arrives and it's clear their relationship is strained due to his past infidelity. As Beanie leaves, Tania joins Timo. She then receives a message inviting her to Nurul's 7-day memorial. Timo asks if she's still losing sleep over Nurul's death and worries that it's affecting her performance. He tells her he's proud of her, but winning the game would make him even prouder. Just then, Samantha scolds them both to be quiet. The scene cuts to the tennis court, where Tania is stretching. Choki arrives and pulls her aside, upset about her short dress. He tells her he just wants what's best for her and asks her not to wear it again. Tania apologizes and promises not to. Just then, Beanie arrives and tells Tania to take her position for practice. Meanwhile, Samantha is at a clinic getting injections for younger-looking skin. She also asks the doctor about a tummy tuck. The doctor examines her and asks if she's sure. Samantha replies, "Yes, I want my body back to how it was before my second child." The doctor agrees. She then takes a selfie with the injection and posts it on social media. Later, we see Timo's classmates looking at Samantha's pictures online, making vulgar comments about her body. Timo overhears and gets angry, using his asthma inhaler. The boys mock him as he struggles to stay composed. We then see Tania practicing, but she struggles to perform well and stay focused. Suddenly, she is haunted by Nurul's ghost and screams. Benny rushes to her to calm her down. He sits her down and says, "We don't have much time. There's only 1 month left until the championship. This is very important for our family." He tells her he has noticed she's been sleep deprived since Nurul's death and urges her to get some rest, no matter what it takes. Tania responds, "I will, Dad." Benny corrects her, saying, "I'm your coach when we're on the court, not your dad." He then tells her to stay away from Choki and walks away. Later, Choki comes to comfort Tania and asks if she would like to come to his place, but Tania refuses. Hearing this, Choki gets upset, argues with her, and walks away, leaving Tania alone. Later, Tania is seen asleep in her car, paralyzed, trying to strangle herself in her sleep. Suddenly, Nurul's ghost appears, jolting her awake in terror. Next, she is shown swimming alone at night. Suddenly, a demon drags her underwater. She fights back, manages to save herself, and climbs out of the pool. As she walks away, demonic hands emerge from the pool. The next morning, Samantha live streams during breakfast. Tania joins and notices marks on her own neck. Samantha reads a vulgar comment. Timo recognizes the username as a classmate's, gets angry, and storms off. Later, Timo asks Tania, "Doesn't it bother you when Mom posts pictures in revealing outfits?" Tania replies, "She just needs validation." He then asks, "Did Dad cheat when she was pregnant with me?" Tania comforts him, "It's not your fault." Timo, upset, uses his inhaler and walks away. Later that night, Tania prepares for bed. As she drifts into sleep, she begins to dream, touching herself, until a dark, demonic hand appears, touching her. Suddenly, she starts choking herself and collapses onto her back. Her shrug slips open as a demonic figure emerges, grabs her thighs, then grabs her neck and looms over her, face to face. The scene cuts to Tania at Choki's house. She asks, "Do you believe in sleep paralysis?" He says, "Just superstition." She continues, "What about jinns? Ones that sleep with humans?" He replies, "There's no such thing." Then he notices the marks on her neck, slaps her, and asks, "Did you sleep with someone?" He drags her to a mirror, pointing at the marks. Tania says, "I don't know how they got there. I woke up with them." But he slaps her again. "You're saying a jinn slept with you? What did I do to deserve this?" He cries, slapping himself. Tania stops him and says, "I don't know where it came from. I would never cheat on you," and hugs him, but something about her feels different now. Later, Tania is seen having a practice session with Leona, but when she struggles to play properly, she grows frustrated and starts arguing with her. As the fight escalates, Benny steps in and says, "You're sparring partners, not enemies." He then asks Leona to take a break. In the locker room, Leona warns Tania, "Stay away from Choki, or you'll end up like Nurul. You've got talent. Don't waste it on a toxic guy." Tania snaps, telling her to mind her own business. Leona replies, "I'm just reminding you, as a friend." Tania suddenly grabs her, snarling, "You're not my friend," and starts strangling her. She says, "Die." Just then, Nurul's ghost whispers, "Wake up, Tania." Tania jolts back to herself and runs out, leaving Leona shaken and terrified. Then Tania texts Silmi to pick up the call as she has to talk about Beuno, and then leaves. The tennis court lights suddenly shut off, and a distant spark flashes in the dark. Cut to Leona, sitting in her car. Suddenly, she begins gasping as if being choked by an invisible force. She tries to escape, banging on the window for help, but something holds her back. Moments later, she dies unnaturally. Later, Tania is jogging, haunted by the echo of Leona's mother's voice, accusing her for Leona's death. Just then, a woman named Riza approaches. She says, "Haven't seen you at prayers in years," then notices something strange in Tania. Tania gets up to leave. Riza gently adds, "If you ever feel uneasy, remember to pray, or drop by my house. I live nearby." Tania ignores and Riza calls after her, "Peace be upon you." Tania leaves without responding. Suddenly, a demonic voice responds, "And upon you be peace," startling Riza. Later, Tania sends multiple texts to Silme. Frustrated by no response, Tania angrily texts her, "Just die." As she steps out of the bathtub, demonic hands briefly emerge from behind it. Later, in her room, someone suddenly covers her mouth. It's Choki. He says, "I missed you." One thing leads to another, and they begin making love. But Timo sees them in the act. Suddenly, Tania bites Choki's lip, drawing blood. She says, "This is what you wanted, right?" Choki looks at her confused. The scene cuts to Choki arriving home. He lies on his bed when suddenly the power goes out. Strange noises echo in the dark. He follows the sound, but a noise behind him makes him turn. His foot hits a trunk. As he steps forward, another sound comes from behind. The demon briefly appears, but Choki doesn't see it. He flicks the light switch to check. Then the demon whispers his name. Startled, Choki turns suddenly, knocking over a glass. It shatters, and a shard pierces his foot. He sits down, wincing, and pulls the glass out. He throws it in anger. Just then, the lights flicker back on. The next morning, Samantha is live streaming her workout. Timo's friends are watching and making vulgar comments about her. They corner Timo, teasing him and demanding to meet his mom. Furious, Timo uses his asthma inhaler and lashes out, beating Mo until he bleeds. Meanwhile, Samantha is with her doctor when she receives a call. Alarmed by what she hears, she leaves immediately. Elsewhere, Tania overhears two men talking about Silmi's death. She asks them about it, and they confirm Silmi died just like Leona. Shocked, Tania screams, and one of the men hugs her to comfort her. Choki arrives and, enraged, attacks the man. Tania intervenes, yelling at Choki to stop. When he tries to grab her by the neck, Tania fights back and storms off in anger. Meanwhile, Samantha scolds Timo for his violent outburst. Beuno joins in, blaming Samantha's parenting. He says, "You're too busy flaunting your body online." Timo agrees, and Samantha slaps him. He snaps, "Do you even know how many people use your pictures for their sick fantasies?" Beuno tells him to stop, but Timo fires back. "You cheated on her while she was pregnant. I'm just a disgrace to both of you." Just then, Tania walks in. Samantha tells her what Timo did and blames Tania for not being a good role model. Beuno interrupts, "That's your job. You only think of yourself." Tania is focused on tennis. "She's the only one I'm proud of." Hurt, Timo blurts out. Last night, Tania slept with her boyfriend. Shocked and enraged, Tania yells, "All of you should just die," and storms off to her room. Sitting on her bed, Tania gets a message that shocks her. Furious, she throws her phone and screams, "I hate you all! Just die already. I wish you were dead, Choki." It's then revealed that Choki is blackmailing Tania, threatening to leak her explicit photo if she ever cheats on him. Then at 3:15 a.m., Timo is blasting loud music when he suddenly suffers an asthma attack. Struggling, he searches for his inhaler and collapses to the floor while trying to find it. He crawls, grabs it, and stabilizes himself just before someone drags him away. Cut to Tania, asleep, as someone calls her name. She wakes to see Nurul's ghost and rushes to Timo's room. There, she finds a demon looming over Timo's body. It growls, then vanishes. Tania screams at the sight of Timo's lifeless body. At Timo's funeral, Riza tries to speak with Tania, but she walks away. As she turns, she spots Nurul's ghost among the mourners and quickly leaves. That night, Tania scrolls through photos of Timo, whispering apologies. She comes across the threatening photo Choki sent and notices Beuno in the background. Intrigued, she researches sleep paralysis and finds several cases where people described seeing Beuno. Meanwhile, Choki tries calling her, but she ignores it. Exhausted from researching, Tania drifts off. Elsewhere, Samantha is undergoing treatment when she sleeps and becomes paralyzed. She sees her face distort in the mirror, her doctor laughing maniacally, and suddenly, Samantha dies. Tania, furious, storms into her room and screams for Beuno to come out. She screams aloud, and then it hits her. Everyone who's died. She had cursed them for death in anger. Leona, Silmi, Timo, Samantha. Realizing her father could be next, she rushes to him. Beuno is grieving when Tania arrives and begs him not to sleep. She warns, "If you do, Beuno will kill you too." Benny says that I only get to see your mom and Timo in my dreams. But Tania stops him, revealing that she is the one who summoned Beuno. She wished for everyone to die, and Beuno obeyed her. Just then, she remembers that Choki is also in danger. She begs her dad to stay awake and races off to save Choki. Meanwhile, Choki sleepwalks, reaches a mixer grinder, and puts his hand inside. It turns on. His hand is gruesomely chopped off, and he wakes in horror. At the same time, Beuno starts experiencing sleep paralysis. Tania speeds toward Choki's house, but crashes in a violent accident. Next, we see Tania admitted in a hospital. She regains consciousness, detaches her medical equipment, and steps out of her room. In the corridor, she sees Choki, who is also admitted there. Just then, Riza arrives and tells her that her father is admitted in the same hospital too. Tania, visibly disturbed, says he can't fall asleep. If he does, Beuno will kill him. Riza tries to calm her down. She says, "I've never heard of Beuno before, but the last few times I met you, I felt like something evil was following you." Tania asks, "Why didn't you tell me before?" Riza replies, "Because I wasn't sure and you always avoided distracted me, Tania says. It's all Beuno's doing. Riza responds, whatever it is, it must be a jinn. Have faith, we can defeat him. You said he attacks his victims when they're asleep? Tania nods. At 3:15 a.m., Riza says, that's when people are most vulnerable, sleeping and powerless. The scene cuts to Riza speaking to Tania in hospital room. The most important thing is in your heart. You must have faith. Strengthen your belief in God. He will make things easier. Tania looks at her father and Choki, then closes her eyes and begins to recite a prayer. Suddenly, she is transported to another realm, surrounded by darkness. She hears the voices of her father and Choki and calls out to them. Then, she sees them hanging upside down. Suddenly, Beuno appears behind her and drags her into the darkness, beginning to strangle her. In that moment, Tania remembers Riza's words. Do you remember the prayers? Riza begins to recite the prayer, and Tania starts praying along with her. Suddenly, Beuno leaves her and starts reacting violently. He weakens, screams, and slowly vanishes into thin air. Tania returns to the real world. Riza hugs her tightly, and Tania's father regains consciousness. But when Tania looks at Choki, she realizes he didn't make it. She screams and breaks down, crying over his body. The scene shifts to the tennis championship. Tania is on the court, and her father is cheering for her from the stands. She plays exceptionally well and ultimately wins the match. The crowd erupts in applause. She walks up with the trophy, and her father embraces her, saying, I'm proud of you. Reporters approach and ask, how are you feeling? With tears in her eyes, Tania says, I dedicate this win to my mom, my boyfriend Choki, my friends, and especially to my brother, Timo. She raises the trophy and says, rest in peace, Timo, then kisses it. Later, we see another girl in a dark room, chanting a spell to summon Beuno. Behind her, Beuno begins to appear, and the movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a scare. Until next time, stay spooky.